Welcome back into episode 17 of Hawks Huddle. Jacqueline Kula here, Mark Haskinet. Also, subscribe if you are watching on YouTube. We thank you for everybody listening on Radio Laurier, airing there. And subscribe, give it a like. We really appreciate that always on YouTube. No interview this week. We did have Sam Acho last week. Really enjoying the interviews we've had
Mhm.
lately on here, Jacqueline.
They've been
I
good.
know. Yeah, I know Acho had a lot. How did your mom respond to the Acho sort of interview last week?
She was so happy, especially just the things that he was saying about me, like, really, like, made her day. I saw, like, some tears in her eyes, I think. She was, like, very, very happy, especially getting those shout outs she loved. So she loved it. My whole family actually loved the interview. My brother, who doesn't even watch any football, doesn't care, was loving it. I showed it to him. He'll usually watch, like, a few minutes of, you know, Ronnie Lott or Drew Pearson, like NFL legends. But with this one with Sam, because we kind of talked about so much more than just football, he was so into it, which was really nice for me to see.
He Yeah, he was. I mean, and he had like a heart of gold, right? I mean, he kind of
Yes.
had a heart of gold, and yeah, we encourage everyone who didn't see that to check it out on our YouTube channel, Hawks Huddle Podcast. Just drop a like as well if you could. But it's definitely an interesting interview, and he touched upon a lot of things. Did you watch The Bachelor with his brother this
I
past week?
watched and he was so good, Emmanuel. It was quite the episode. I don't know if you've been hearing about some stuff with it, but it was quite the emotional episode, very different than usual. It wasn't Chris Harrison, but honestly, I don't think the Bachelor Nation needs Chris Harrison anymore. I think
Right.
it's time to bring in some more people, and Emmanuel is used to having tough conversations like he does on his YouTube channel. So I think that was needed in that kind of episode because of everything going on with, the winner of The Bachelor. There was a lot of things that came out about her past. So it was very important to have a black man do it, first of all, and then someone who isn't afraid to ask the uncomfortable questions. So very well done. It was Sam Acho's anniversary as well. So it was a very fun day for the Acho brothers Monday night. And
Yeah.
yeah, we got a lot to talk about today. We got Meyers Leonard situation we want to talk about a bit, NFL free agency trades, and maybe a little bit of draft, right?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, the NFL is a lot is going on, a lot of money getting thrown around in the NFL. Just contracts from here and there. Jacksonville, my team had the most cap space. They've made some moves, but yeah, we'll delve right into NFL free agency. Then we'll start there. Like you said, Jacqueline. We'll probably touch a little bit on Myers Leonard, maybe preview a bit of the draft as pro days and stuff go on. But yeah, let's start with free agency, and I kind of wanted to start it with the New England Patriots and kind of the moves that they've made, Jacqueline.
They are
Um,
signing everybody. Like,
yeah,
where did this come from? Every single I don't know, athlete, every single football player is signing with this Patriots team. I don't know. And Cam signed, how much did he sign? He signed what?
yeah,
For 1 year, 13 mil
one
or
year,
something. A little bit
yeah.
over 13 mil. So they're I don't know. I don't know what this plan is, but they got tight ends coming in. They got big names coming in.
Well, I think that's the big question, and obviously Belichick was upset with not making the playoffs and going 7-9 last year, and you can see all the moves he's made. But that's the big question: is Cam Newton, who struggled so much last year, do they really believe in him? Do you believe in him, Jacqueline? I mean, they like you said, they've added tight ends, they added
Mhm.
Nelson Aguilar. They're trying to build around him, but is he the guy?
I think it's tough with Cam because
It is
he was so good with that Panthers team when they went to the Super Bowl. He won
MVP.
MVP. He was the MVP. He kind of choked in the Super Bowl though, but MVP, like Superman, couldn't believe what I was watching. And then he kind of just went a little downhill. I think it's really just about the guys he has around him. In Carolina, he had Greg Olson, right? So he had these like
Yeah,
big tight end. Now in New England, he doesn't have Gronk, right? Gronk went with Brady to Tampa Bay. So maybe, adding these other receivers and tight ends is going to help him, but it was only a 1 year deal. They're not committing to him yet. This is kind of going to be their trial run almost. Um, but I do
exactly.
believe in him though. I do.
Yeah, and he goes into his second year with the Patriots. I mean, if you look at New England last year, I mean, the roster that they were playing with was not good. Yeah, like the
No.
receivers. I don't think many people would be able to name much of the receivers on New England or the tight end on the Patriots roster last year.
Yeah, I
So you
couldn't.
kind of exactly. So when you're evaluating Newton, you kind of have to take that with a grain of salt, and that's why they had to make all of these moves.
Mhm.
New England also signed Matt Judon. They got Kyle Van
Mhm.
Noy back, Jalen Mills, making a lot of moves on defense too.
Mhm.
So it's a team that is going to be back, I think, in the AFC for sure come next year.
I think so.
But kind of moving on with that, Shaquille Griffin signed to the Jaguars,
Mhm.
4 years, $40 million, and the biggest signing of the free agency was Trent Williams, 6 years, 138 million to San Francisco. He got paid, Jacqueline. Wow.
That's a lot of money. Wow.
And this is for a tackle who missed all of
Yeah.
2019 with Washington and then came back last year and played really well. And nearly $140 million contract now. San Francisco is going to protect maybe Jimmy G, maybe somebody else. Who
I don't
knows?
know. Yeah, what's happened there with Jimmy G? Like where's he going? Is he staying in San Fran? I thought there was going to be a possible New England trade bringing Cam in
Yeah.
San Fran. Well, that's not, official yet. Same thing happened a couple years ago when the Giants signed Odell for all that money and then we traded him away. So,
Well,
Cam's not safe, I don't think. I don't think Cam's
no,
a fit,
I mean, talking about quarterbacks, just real quickly there, I think we kind of have to mention the Bears,
Yeah.
and what reality, I guess, what reality is for them and what they kind of wanted, what they perceived. I mean, they perceived Russell Wilson, they wanted Russell
Yeah.
Wilson. Reality is Andy Dalton, I
Andy
guess.
Dalton, man. But Andy Dalton, I believe, is better. My dad was telling me some stat how like he has won more games than all of these Bears quarterbacks or something like in the past couple of years. I don't really know what it was, but I don't know. And Andy Dalton was Cincinnati's guy for all those years. He's not
He
a
was.
bad quarterback. I think he just needs a good system. And Cincinnati never really gave him a good system except for AJ Green, who recently signed with Arizona. But I
Mhm.
don't know if Andy Dalton's our guy, but is Russell Wilson just out of the picture now?
Yeah, I don't know, right? Like, is he going to stay? I hear a lot of talk about Russell Wilson leaving maybe next year if they have
Mhm.
another, if he struggles again and gets sacked a lot, because that's what he's upset about, getting
Yeah.
hit.
Mhm.
The thing is, as an NFL quarterback, you're going to get hit though,
Yeah.
right? I mean, I understand his concerns, um, but he kind of has to, I think, stay with Seattle. And I never saw a move to Chicago happening.
Mhm.
Obviously, the reports were that they aggressively pursued Russell, but I don't see Seattle moving on from him. He's been their guy. So Andy Dalton, though, like you said, I mean, he had all those years with Cincinnati, and played last year for Dallas. He didn't even play too bad in a backup role for
Mhm.
Dallas.
It was good, yeah.
Um, so the Bears, they have a good team. Again, Andy Dalton, is he going to be the starter? They still have Nick Foles there, so there might be a little bit of competition there, but it's definitely interesting. The Bears, the coach, both Nagy and the general manager Ryan Pace, are going to be on the hot seat for sure this year if that move doesn't play out. So another move for the Giants. The Giants have been making some moves. Leonard
Mhm.
Williams,
Leonard
three
Williams
years,
is back.
63.
That's
Yeah.
huge. We got him back. We just signed, I think, Mike Glennon,
Yes,
quarterback.
my former quarterback. You don't want him.
So I'm sure he'll be our third string or second string or something. But right now the Giants are in talks with Kenny, Galladay, wide receiver from the Detroit. He's someone that I want on my team. If there's a player right now that's on the market, a wide receiver, he's the guy I want. Um, but Giants have not been nice to me with this free agency, or in the past couple of years have not been making the signings I hope so. So who knows what's gonna happen? But I want him, man. I want him.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have been awfully kind of quiet in free agency. You signed, like we said, we signed Leonard Williams, 3 years, 63 million,
Mm-hmm.
big deal, and you had to sign him up. I remember talking with license plate guy, and he was so excited about Leonard Williams. But yeah, you guys have been kind of quiet outside of that. And Kenny Galladay, there's apparently some mutual interest there. That's who I wanted. And
Yeah, of
Jack
course.
we got his teammate. We got Marvin Jones,
Yes.
which is a pretty solid receiver. He's 31. Kenny
Okay.
Galladay, I believe, is 27 or
Yeah.
28. I mean, he's in his prime. I think a lot of teams. I'm surprised he's still on the board. Free agency kind of started on Monday, the legal tampering
Yeah.
period, and I'm surprised it's Thursday now as we record this, and he's still not signed because I think he's a really good player, and you guys might be getting that.
I hope so.
And that would help you out a lot too, because outside of Sterling Shepard, um, you know, who else do the Giants have on that receiving core outside of Sterling Shepard?
Well, we got Darius Slayton, who's
Darius
also
Slayton.
he's great, but we need like a because we had Odell for a couple years, and we kind of need a guy like that again, who's a game changer. And I think Kenny can be that. Um, so that I really hope we do get him. But speaking of New York teams, the Jets are currently in talks with Juju Smith-Schuster. That
Yes.
would be pretty big, and I'm pretty sure that Juju, his quarterback in college, was Sam Darnold. So
Yes.
I don't like, does this change
Wow.
things with the draft? Does this, like if they sign Juju, because Sam is a good quarterback, I think. I think he just got unlucky with the team he was put
Yeah.
on and with no
Well,
help.
no help. Exactly. It goes to what we were saying about Cam Newton. I mean, the
Same
Jets,
thing.
they don't have a running back. They didn't have a receiver. They didn't have a tight end. I mean, they have nobody else on offense. So it's so easy to push blame to the quarterback, of course, but they deserve a little bit of help, like you
I
said,
think
right?
so. So
Um,
I think if they do sign Juju, I think they got to give Sam another try. Because Juju was also a
I
game
think so.
changer. He can really become a leader on your team. So I think if they I think they are going to sign Juju. I
And
think
I think it's
so.
kind of just, yeah, I think so too. I think it's a match kind of made in heaven because, like you said, obviously Darnold playing at USC, Juju playing at USC, but Juju, I think he would like the big market. I mean, he played in
Mhm.
Pittsburgh, but I think he would like the New York
New
Lights
York,
playing for the
yeah.
Jets. He's kind of a little bit of a cocky sort of guy, Juju. We saw the videos
The
of him all
TikTok
this year.
dances. Oh yeah, he'll be doing the dances at like Times Square, if
There you
he's
go.
playing
Yeah,
in New York. Like that's where he wants to be. A guy like that with that personality wants to be in either, LA, Miami, and New York, like big cities, party
exactly.
cities, bright cities. That's where he wants to be. Like I see Juju becoming an actor after his career,
Yeah,
Like I see him doing something in the or being, an influencer or a YouTuber. Like I see him being somewhere in the spotlight. So I think the perfect place for him would be New York.
New
Exactly.
York. Yep. No, that's for sure. A lot of receivers are out there. Like it's been a slow moving market for the receivers. We talked about Galladay. We talked about Juju. There's a couple other names. I mean, Antonio Brown, Sammy Watkins,
Hmm.
a couple other guys that are out there that were some of the top receivers. Years ago.
AJ
Sammy
Green.
Watkins was, yes. I mean, AJ Green, who just signed, like you said.
Hmm.
Um, so a lot of receivers I've been surprised to see how slow that's kind of moving, but
Hmm.
kind of the way it's been going in the NFL here. We could switch and do a little bit of draft talk
A little
if
bit
you
of draft.
wanted to
Yeah.
here,
Well,
and then
I did just want to touch on JJ Watt sign with Arizona. I don't think we
right,
talked about that at all. It happened a little bit ago. It's currently March 18th.
yeah,
We've been having a lot of guests on. We haven't really been able just to do our own football talk. But yeah, JJ signed with Arizona, 2 year, 28 mil, 23 mil
whoa,
guaranteed. Big deal. Um, I think that's huge for Arizona. Like it does,
oh
like
yeah,
even if JJ isn't at his best, that kind of leadership on your team can change the entire franchise with a leader like that. Like a JJ on defense, Larry Fitzgerald on offense. Like that's what you want. These are the guys that you
yep,
want as your vets, as your leaders. So that's huge for Arizona, I think. And then some
it
quarterback
is,
stuff
yeah.
as well, some quarterback stuff.
I'll just quickly jump in on the Cardinals because it didn't. I nobody really thought JJ was going to go to Arizona. It was
No,
kind of a complete surprise.
I had like Buffalo, I had Cleveland, I had Pittsburgh. Arizona
Yeah.
was no, it was not nowhere in my mind at all.
Exactly. And like you said, Larry Fitzgerald being there like two leaders. Larry is a free agent. I think they will resign him back if he wants to play another year, most definitely. But yeah, the leadership that Arizona has now on that team and what else they've been doing as well. They brought in Rodney Hudson, a center, a couple other moves. I mean, Arizona's doing pretty well, but wow, JJ Watt, what a deal. 2 years, 28 million
That's
get
huge.
out of Houston as well, which we
Yeah.
know how just awful Houston is right now. That dump fire down with the Texans, so they got to figure it out with Deshaun still. But like you said, we haven't really had this time, and we can sit here and bounce around so many different news items in the NFL because so much is going on, and we really haven't had the time, like you said, because we've had interviews in the past couple of weeks that we really enjoyed. But yeah, we'll jump to a little talk about the draft story before we talk about Leonard and that'll be it. The draft is about a month and a half away, about 5 6 weeks away. Jaguars still with the first pick. There's kind of no intrigue there. We're gonna get our guy, my guy, Trevor
Mhm.
Lawrence, but then the intrigue starts. Like you said, the Jets. Who knows what they're gonna do? And there's so many other teams who might pick a quarterback or who might not pick a quarterback. It's going to be really interesting. Do you how many quarterbacks do you see going in the top 10?
The top 10.
Because there is some
That's so
like
tough.
Carolina might take a quarterback. They're in the
Mm,
top 10. Denver might not stick with Locke. They're in the top
yeah,
10. And even Atlanta with Matt Ryan, there's been talks about them wanting to
yeah.
maybe get somebody. And then there's the Jets. And so, I know it's putting you on the spot a little bit. I can see maybe four or five. I could possibly see four quarterbacks in the
Like
top 10 just because of the needs.
right. Like I think the best quarterbacks I think it goes Trevor 100% will be number 1, no question. Justin Fields or Zach Wilson. I don't know if they're I don't know who's at 2 and who's at 3. It's hard to say.
Yeah,
And then Trey Lance and
Trey
Mac
Lance.
Jones. I don't know if Mac Jones is, there's a lot of talks about Mac, like Mac was playing for, in the championship game.
Yeah,
But I don't really see him on a lot of people's mocks, him going high.
no.
Um, but I think I'm gonna say that there's gonna be 3 quarterbacks going in the top 10. I'm gonna say it's gonna be Trevor, Justin Fields, and Zach Wilson, and I think Trey Lance will be top 15.
Yeah, because it very well could be because there are some teams, picking 11th and 12th. I'm pretty sure too, who might consider getting a quarterback.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, it'll be super interesting. Mac Jones is a really really intriguing kind of prospect because
Mhm.
he had such a great year for Alabama. Won the national championship. Had like 8 touchdowns in that
Yeah.
game or no interceptions. Just played crazy. But I think a lot of scouts or what NFL teams kind of don't see in him is the intangibles, kind of, all of the arm strength and
Mm.
the size. Like, Lawrence is kind of built like a
Yeah.
quarterback.
Yeah.
Whereas, it's a little bit different for Mac Jones, who's only shown really this 1 year of playing well and doesn't have that size or the arm strength or
Mm.
some of the other intangibles. But he might be the steal of the draft. Mac
Yeah.
Jones could be because to have him ranked as the fifth quarterback, the national champion winning quarterback, as the fifth quarterback on the board, some team might be able to hold out or trade back and really get a guy who's going to start for them a bunch right throughout the years. So it'll be certainly interesting to see a lot of receivers in the draft. Of course,
Mhm.
Devontae Smith,
Yeah.
Jalen Waddle, a bunch of receivers. It's going to be really exciting. I think it's in Cleveland this year,
Mm.
the draft. So I hope we'll probably have some guests in the next couple weeks and do some more of a kind of draft talk as we get closer to it and talk about the prospects. A lot of pro days happening in the
Yeah.
NFL as well.
Yeah,
I,
I
I
can
missed the
see.
combine though,
That's what I
Jacqueline.
was
I
about to
missed.
say. I missed the combine. I used to like I would it would usually be like when I was in high school, it would usually be on during class, so I would always like put it on my phone and I would like take notes like during math class or something. And I would
Yeah.
take notes about like who, Giants should be drafting and then, guys, 40-yard dash and all that stuff. I would always like really like pay attention. I loved it so much, but this year, of course, COVID, it's different. Hopefully next year, I'm sure we'll have it back. Um, But
I
I
hope.
it also does, like, ruin chances for some guys, like, because the thing about pro day is that that's your second chance to show, right? You
Yes,
got common and pro day, now it's just pro day. Now it's you got one chance, which I don't think is right. So, it sucks. It does suck.
it does. It does. I mean, the hundreds and hundreds of people, like I'm talking NFL, scouts and GMs and stuff that come and see these players at the combine. I mean, that's took away this year, right?
Mhm.
And for the guys who aren't Trevor Lawrence or Mac Jones or the top
Yeah,
names, it really hurts them. You're
it
right. Like
does.
they lose that opportunity, right? So it is unfortunate. I was the same as you. I mean, always watching the combine. That shows you how big the NFL is. All the fans just sit there and watch guys run 40-yard dashes in their spandex and do
Right.
bench presses and stuff. But I miss it. I miss it. Hey, I
Yeah.
miss it a ton. So we'll talk. Let's quickly switch to the NBA here. We didn't want to not talk about Meyers Leonard on this show, so we'll kind of end with that. I know we wanted to speak on that. He got traded from Miami to Oklahoma yesterday, but a lot of controversy kind of surrounding him, Jacqueline.
So he got traded. I don't think he's actually gonna play though with the Thunder. I don't know how that works.
No.
Something with they're gonna waive him, but pretty much if you guys don't know, you guys can search up. But Myers Leonard yelled an anti-Semitic slur during a live stream of him playing Call of Duty. The word is a derogatory word, a word towards Jewish people. I'm Jewish, so I know what that word is, but a lot of people don't. Like, did you know what that word was?
No, I
Yeah.
actually did not. No,
See, a
no,
lot
no.
of people don't, which is
Yeah,
I never really like I don't it's not a common word, that's why. Like I'm Jewish, so I do know what the word is, but it's not a common word at all. Like I don't think I've ever heard someone actually say it, like in
right.
person. So
Nor have I. Right, right.
exactly. So for him to first of all say the word, it means that he does know it. And he came out with a statement saying that, and remember, Myers Leonard is not Jewish. And he came out with a
Oh,
statement saying that he didn't know what the word meant. But then I saw a lot of tweets saying, well, if you don't know what the word meant, then why would you say it in such a, terrible way? He was angry. Like when people play
well,
Call
his tone too.
his
Yeah.
tone, he was very angry. So he was just trying to, find like a mean word to say. So he says, the K word without even like realizing it. So um, I think the way to handle this is not to like, we had Sam on last week and we talked about cancel culture with the Bachelor stuff.
Yeah.
This is not something to cancel him for. He didn't do anything. He just said a word that wasn't right. And I think really just what needs to come out with this is just education. I saw Julian Edelman is also Jewish. He
Yes.
plays for the New England Patriots. Everybody knows him. Came out with a statement. Come over. Let me teach you a little bit about Jewish history and why that word is a terrible word to say. So I don't think he's I don't want to cancel. I'm not saying that like, if I see him on
Yeah.
the street, I'm gonna like, give him crap. No, of course not. He's not a bad person. Um, and like maybe me like a couple weeks ago would have said something different, but having Sam on and then watching The Bachelor, having his brother speak on the things that one of the contestants did, really kind of opened my eyes to, being anti-cancel culture is more about educating someone. I think is important. So that's like the thing with Myers and Miami Heat owner. I'm pretty sure is Jewish, so I'm sure that didn't,
Right.
he didn't really like that at all. And it also kind of, he's not a great player either, Myers Leonard. So
Right.
he was really just a cheerleader. I always liked him just because I thought he was like a good looking guy. He just seemed like a fun guy. Like him and his wife post videos of them playing basketball. Like I always just liked him as a person. But this this kind of I think ruined his career just because it brings more drama to a team. I don't think he's a bad person. I think he should get another chance. But I do want to see him, put in the work, put in the education, and I actually understand why what he did was wrong.
Yeah. No, exactly. I don't know if I could say it any better. It's all about kind of education. Yeah. Like Julian Edelman penned that kind of open letter
Mhm.
to him, and I think that's what should come out of it rather than, like you said, just jumping, to conclusions and just, canceling him or saying he should never play again in the NBA, or,
Right.
he has been suspended
Mhm.
indefinitely. He was by Miami. I don't know
Mhm.
what his new team is going to do, Oklahoma. I don't think he's going to play though. And I believe he was fined from the league.
Yeah,
right?
I think he was
50.
fined 50,000. Yes.
Right. So he,
Um,
he's gotten a couple, he's faced some consequences. 50 grand
yeah.
might not be too much to an NBA player, but it's a 50 grand fine.
Yes.
And, he's been suspended. He's not playing.
Mhm.
So I think you're so right, and that's why we keep kind of saying it. But if you haven't seen the Ocho interview, he really drops so much kind of knowledge and advice. He kind of educates us
Mhm.
in saying, yeah, it's better to be anti-cancel culture.
Yeah.
Leonard did slip up. He was careless. Shouldn't have said that. Bad video. But you can't. He's been in the league for a long time too. He's been in the league for I think over about 10 years.
Yeah, I think so. But yeah, like it really
So
just comes back to education. Like we learned this last summer too, with everything going on with the Black Lives Matter movement. It was all about we have to educate ourselves about why things are this and that.
yes.
So it all comes back to education. And I don't know if you heard about this basketball announcer who said the N word on, he was calling a game and
I did.
he blamed it on
Now
diabetes. See, that's a different story because first of all, he said a
that is a much
word,
different story.
very different word as well than the word that Meyers said. Very, very different.
And
Um,
if you were to watch that one, I don't know, did you see it, Jacqueline?
I heard a bit of it.
Because it
Yeah,
it was with pretty much intent. Like where
exactly.
Myers kind of it felt like, he's playing Call of
He was
Duty,
playing Call of Duty. Yeah,
right?
very, very.
These announcers complete intent, why are these people kneeling, right? And he
Yes,
didn't use
exactly.
people. He didn't use
Exactly, and then he said the word. It is so different from Meyers Leonard.
yes.
Like Meyers didn't mean any harm. He, maybe like he didn't even if he did know the word, he didn't understand it. We all know what the N word is. We all know why we can't say it. There's a history behind it. And for this guy to first of all say it, and then his apology blaming it. He
I
didn't say,
actually never heard his apology. What was his
"Oh,
apology?
I gotta find this while we're talking about this." I saw it somewhere
Because
on Twitter.
if anybody were, and it was kind of viral, but it was with complete, he was caught on a hot mic.
Yeah.
He didn't think he was on air, and that doesn't make the scenario any better for him, because he completely kind of said it with intent, as some of the women basketball players were kneeling before the national anthem.
Let
uh,
me try to find that. Where?
so any apology that he has for that, I can't believe I know you're looking for it now. I can't believe you said diabetes,
Yeah,
but
it
any
says here.
apology kind
Yeah.
of falters there.
Yeah, so announcer who called high school basketball team racial slur blames his diabetes, which is like,
Wow.
if like that. See, that's the kind of guy where it's like you're no longer allowed in this sport. Myers is
Yes.
very, very, very different. First of all, of like I said before, the words are very, very different. I don't want to compare the words because the word that Myers said is not a common word. The word that this announcer said is a common word, and we know why.
Yeah.
And it's a word that we know why we can't say, and there's a history behind it. Like we understand that
Exactly.
as people.
Well, as much as we, we've talked through this conversation here, as much as we've talked about education, there really doesn't need to be any education on what the high school announcer said. I mean,
Right.
I think everybody knows, especially like you said, with what's gone on the past year, especially
Hmm.
in the past summer.
Yeah.
I think everybody knows what that word means and what that word carries, and a little bit of history about it,
Yeah.
as well. So there's no education there. It's
No.
it's a completely different situation.
Yeah.
Myers Leonard will be really interesting to follow, though,
It
as
will
as we
be.
go on.
It
I,
will
I
be.
don't. I wonder. I really wonder how it's going to play out.
Mhm.
Like I said, because he has this fine now and the suspension. I don't know if anything else is happening. I mean, there's really not much to do. Like I was gonna say, like, is the NBA like investigating anything or looking at anything? There's not really
Yeah.
much you can do. It's
I
just
think
him.
I think it just comes down to
Yeah.
education, putting in the work. And like I'm relating a lot of this to Bachelor because I learned so much coming from Emmanuel speaking on it and talking about this girl Rachel who things from her past came up, and he said something how it's like you're, I don't think you're racist, but it was something with racially insensitive, and I think that's very different. It's not knowing why she, like, there was photos of her going to like a party on like a slavery ground or something. I
Oh,
plantation. It was something terrible, but I think that just comes with her not understanding. It comes with education. She grew up in the South, so very different as well than, Canada. I think, people who grow up in the South in America, um,
Yes.
so it all, I've said this several times, but it's education is key. If you don't know what this word is that we're talking about, you guys can go search it up and you guys can go read about it. You guys can read about Jewish history as well. There's so much to learn as as a whole of all of us. But to end this conversation with Myers, I don't think he's a bad person at all. I don't think he is an anti-Semite. I don't think he should be banned from the league. I think he just needs to learn why that word is wrong, and put in the work, and just educate himself is key.
Yeah. No, exactly. And even if he were to meet with Julian Edelman,
Hmm.
Edelman offered him that open invitation and just get better from it. That's it. And I think we're on the exact same like as you said in the beginning. It's just educating and just getting better from it. The guy's been in the league since 2012, so I agree with you when I say I don't think he's an anti-Semite either. But he slipped up there, and he has faced some consequences for it. We'll see how that goes. But a lot going on. March is always fun. I love March. It's a busy time in the year in sports. NFL free agency. We talked about that. Obviously the NBA and NHL. The season's rolling on there. Got my March Madness bracket out here,
Oh, I
Jacqueline.
made one.
Did you?
I have not been following college basketball or checking out like who, like I just totally just made up one from like the spot. I know where it is. It's somewhere on my phone. But yeah, I made it up. When it starts
Starts
couple
tonight.
starts tonight?
Starts tonight. Well, so the first four play-in games are tonight.
Oh,
The
okay.
bracket will start tomorrow and on the weekend, which is
Yeah, because
always exciting.
tonight is Keeping Up with the Kardashians. I gotta watch that.
Oh, of course, of course,
I
of
know
course.
you see me with all these sports things and you think I never watch, The Bachelor, the Kardashians, but I do.
Yeah,
Uh,
and that was the thing in the Ocho interview too. I mean, I didn't have much. I haven't watched too much of The Bachelor, so I didn't have too much to say. I did watch a little bit of Emmanuel, and I did turn it on a little bit
you
this
did?
past week.
Okay.
So what you are saying about Emmanuel, like he really did a good job with
He
it
did
from what
great.
the
Yeah.
5 minutes that I saw, but 5 minutes more of The Bachelor than I've watched in my life. So
That's great.
still, but maybe we'll go through our brackets and
Yeah.
stuff next week and down the road as kind
Mhm.
of March Madness is only like a 2-3 week tournament, but next week we can kind of maybe go through who we think will win or something like that. um it's the most bet on sporting event of the year,
Oh, it's the
so
most I think it's one of the most exciting. I think like after Super Bowl, this might be my favorite sporting event of the year because last year was canceled, right? Because
yes.
like COVID hit. Well, yesterday was St. Patty's, so it's the second time St. Patty's was canceled, and
Yeah.
I'm in my second year of university, so
Oh no.
I have not gotten a St. Patty's yet. But last year, I think I came home on the 15th of March, March 15th, 2020, and like that was the last time I hung out with my friends. I did backyard visits this summer, but other than that I haven't like hung out with my friends. Like we're very isolated. I'm like I don't mind it. It's a terrible thing
Yeah.
to think. Like I've gotten so used to it, to like doing my own thing, being at home. um
Yeah.
but the one thing that I was really upset about too, other than being sent home from school, not having St. Patty's, was that March Madness was
It's
canceled.
canceled.
That was
Yes.
so heartbreaking. Like I didn't realize how much I was gonna miss it. So now that we have it back, I'm so excited for it.
So excited. Me too. The buzzer beaters and the upsets and
Upsets,
everything
yeah.
that comes with March Madness. Just the way that it's scheduled. I mean, nothing better than that. I mean, you got like 16 games in 10 hours. They just one after the other, right? Like it's
So
perfect. You don't
good.
have to move. I mean, it's
No.
it's awesome. So that will probably do it though for us today. We hope to have an interview again for next week and continue the conversation on NFL and just a lot of things. Like we said, we talked more about The Bachelor and life in general, kind of with our last interview with Sam Acho last week. So we plan on kind of doing that more in the future
Mhm.
with our guests, as we always have done. But yeah, please, drop us a like, subscribe as well on Hawks
Subscribe.
Huddle
Subscribe
podcast.
is key
Yes.
because I'm seeing we're getting way more views than we are subscribers. So if you guys are watching, just if you guys like, it's pretty simple to subscribe to a channel. If you don't have an account, you just make one easy, and then you can subscribe and you can put on your notifications so that you're notified every time we post. That would be great. And make sure to
Yes.
give this episode a like as well. We'd be very happy with that as well. So yeah.
Means a lot. I mean, it definitely does. I mean, it means a lot to us, so we appreciate it. If you guys do that, we drop these every week. We got one out, and also airing on Radio Laurier at 5 o'clock for everybody who kind of tunes in there. But we always encourage everyone, like I say, come see our faces, come see our jerseys, come see the stuffs. But yeah, Jacqueline, that's gonna do it for this week. So we'll regroup. We'll be back at it next week, and yeah, drop a like and subscribe. Thank you for listening here, the Hawks Huddle.